Howdy, folks. So, I've tried to stay away from all this newfangled VR stuff for as long as possible. And anyway, I had a friend who has access to some of this stuff and kept telling me it was so great and so great. So I eventually decided, okay, screw it, I'll just buy something. So I looked around for Google Cardboard, and they're about 20 bucks. And 20 bucks for a piece of cardboard with some lenses in it, I couldn't really justify that. So for 40 bucks, I was able to pick up this, which is a BlitzWolf VR glasses, model BW-VR1. They only make one model at the moment, and this is just I mean it uses Google Cardboard app. It's the same thing. You put your phone in it, but it was a lot nicer than a piece of cardboard you hold up to your face. So anyway, I got this, and I've had it for about 2 weeks now, and I just want to go over the actual headset in this review. I don't really want to talk about too much about VR in general, because this is more of a review about this particular headset, not Google Cardboard VR in general. But I feel inevitably that's going to slip in at some point, because this is my first experience with any kind of VR technology. So anyway, this is the box it comes in. Just slides out. Nothing too interesting to see there. In the box, you get a user manual, one of those microfiber cleaning cloth things, which is unbranded, so that's nice to have. A bunch of random promotional garbage, and you get some foam pads with the sticky tape on the back. And these are spares. You get 2 extra spare sets, and these are bumpers, so that there's claws that you'll see that hold your phone in place. And you can replace them if they, I don't know, wear out, fall off. I'm not quite sure. I haven't needed these yet, but it's good to know you have them. This company BlitzWolf, I looked them up. They kind of they make a bunch of USB chargers and stuff. They're kind of looks like one of those random Chinese engineering houses, kind of like Aukey or Anchor or anything like that. You know, where they just got a bunch of engineers that are like, hey, we can make stuff. And so they just make a bunch of random stuff, and this is their foray into VR glasses. The manual isn't. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad Chinglish. So pause this if you want to read through the Chinglish, but it's not terribly useful. It's kind of like, I don't know, adsorption front cover. Like just it's bad. It's badly translated. Anyway, so. Enough of the accessories. So this is the actual headset itself. And the first thing that really struck me was how big this thing is. I mean, you see these in videos and stuff, but really this thing is big. Actually, I have a tape measure here. From the front to the actual, to the longest section is 5.5 inches. So it is a pretty big thing to stick on your face, and it is heavy. Not so much the actual unit. The unit is pretty light for its size. I mean, it's mostly hollow, but yes, it would weigh more than a piece of cardboard. But then again, it has proper straps and proper foam and all that stuff. But yeah, definitely, if you have never had something like this before, you will notice it's heavy. But it has a 3-way strap, so it's got a stretchy, adjustable strap. There's just Velcro on all 3 straps, so it goes around, and it's got a little fake leather pad on the back. And this top strap is really useful, because that's what takes most of the strain when this thing is sitting on your face. Of course, it has another one of those sort of fake leather pads that goes around your face, and it's actually pretty comfortable, as far as I can tell. I mean, I'm sure that there are more comfortable ones out there, but for the price, I'm not complaining. It's got a cutout for your nose, but I find that my nose actually hits this section here. It's not terribly uncomfortable, but I'll notice there's a little mark on my nose if I've been wearing this for like, half an hour or something. And the manual actually explicitly says, do not wear these for more than half an hour, which is kind of funny, but whatever. So you've got two lenses in here. They're just plastic lenses, and there's a little wheel on the top, and that wheel is used to adjust the distance between the two. It's basically at both extremes. I can't focus properly, but I can focus over a pretty wide range actually in the center. So it's nice to have, but I don't think it's a necessary thing. But it's good. It's good that it's there anyway. There are these other knobs, which when I first saw it, I thought this was the knob that would adjust the pupil distance, but no, this knob actually adjusts the front face, and this is apparently like a zoom control, and I have no idea why this exists, because I always want it as basically with the phone as close to my eyes as possible, because that's going to give you the widest field of view. So I don't really know why this exists. It's not really like a focus control, although maybe if you have no glasses on or something, maybe it's focus. I really don't know what this is for. So maybe if you know, please let me know, but the manual doesn't really explain why this is necessary. So anyway, it's got this kind of silver band for aesthetics, and just it's got their logo on the front. Now this front panel actually comes off. It's just held on with two little magnets and metal strips. And so this, I'm assuming that the reason why this comes off is it opens these holes up, which would allow for most cameras, would allow their front-facing camera to protrude. So if you were using, I don't know, maybe an app that required the camera, or maybe for like, augmented reality, or maybe you were, I wouldn't use like cardboard camera in this, but I don't know. I think that's part of the reason, and it's also vented here, and I think the bigger reason for taking this off is if you don't have a lot of ambient light and you can take this off and it doesn't detract from the experience, it gives your phone a little bit of room to breathe, because that's one thing that I really was surprised about, is how incredibly hot your phone will get doing VR image processing. It's incredible. I've tried this with two phones. I have my LG G4, which is a big phone, and I have my older Samsung Galaxy S4, which is a smaller phone. And it fits both of these phones. I'll show you how they fit. The S4 fits a bit better than the G4, but the G4 gets incredibly hot. The Galaxy S4 still gets pretty damn hot, so I usually just don't have this on. I don't really see a need for it. But to actually get your phone in here, there's a little tiny lip here that you're supposedly able to grab, but I find that the catch is so strong, I actually just stick my finger in this slot on the side and just pry the door open that way. It's a lot easier. And so you can see the lenses again on the back side there, and you can see the wheel, which is used for moving the pupil distance. But this is where your phone would go. It uses the same magnetic clasps to hold this door on. And the actual retention mechanism is basically there's these two. It's actually two separate plastic paddles, but this is in two pieces. There's a gap here, so this is one spring-loaded clamp, I guess, claw, and it is one piece. So you can't just open one. It is one piece, but because of the angle, you can't just pull one. You have to pull both at the same time. And then on the other side, it's just one solid piece that opens out, and that's supposedly supposed to hold your phone. And every time I do this, I try and find a better way to put this in, and it's difficult either way. But and actually, I'll just mention that those little foam inserts are actually located one under each of these panels. There's one, 2, and 3. So that's what the accessory. That's what these were for. They're to replace those, but it comes with them in the thing already. So those are just extras. But yeah, you kind of just have to push it in and get it in. It's difficult both ways. The thing, of course, I don't really care that much about this phone, so I'm not really too worried about scratching it. But if you had a nice phone, you may not like how this goes in, just because of how likely it is to scratch it. The S4 actually fits relatively well, and it's relatively easy to get in and out. Now, this is a problem that you'll realize is that it will actually press and hold the power button on the S4, which is located on the side. That button is right where this gripper is, and the spring is not strong enough to actually hold this button down. But you have to kind of be careful that it doesn't forcibly power off your phone. It's basically that pad is just in just the perfect spot to push it if you get it wrong. But yeah, you can center it in both directions. So there is play. You can move it up and down and side to side. So there is play to get the phone centered, and I find that centering actually matters quite a bit. And then of course, then you can just close it up, and there's your phone. So yeah, the camera does protrude through that hole if that was important. And of course, they've got the slots on both sides, which is useful for putting headphones and stuff in if you want audio. Now, one of the things that you'll notice right away is that there's no magnetic button on this thing. So, of course, Google Cardboard actually has, the official Cardboard has a magnet that you pull, and the compass in the phone detects that magnetic field change, and that's your single button input to the phone, because of course you can't touch this when it's in the device. Now this doesn't have that, and it makes it really, really difficult to use. So what I've done, just sort of in the meantime, is I have a USB OTG adapter cable. And of course with Android you can plug a mouse into your phone. You just get the adapter cable and then you just plug in a desktop mouse. And all of the Cardboard apps will detect the mouse left click as a screen tap, which is equivalent to that button input. So I just, when I need to actually click, I'll actually just have a cable that runs out to a mouse, and I'll just use the click. I won't move the cursor around, I'll just use the click because the cursor doesn't really do that much. Now, the best option, really, if you really cared, would be to get one of those Bluetooth mice or Bluetooth presenter things. It's kind of like a little clicker, and it connects via Bluetooth, so it's still wireless. And you can get those on Amazon, I think, for like $10 or something. That would be the proper way of using your phone while it's in this, but I just couldn't be bothered. I don't think I'll use this that much. Now, the G4 is a much bigger phone, and it still fits in here fine. The issue with the G4 is that it is a curved phone, and from the back to the top of the edge is actually quite a bit thicker than the G4 or the S4. And as a result, it doesn't fit terribly well in these claws because, of course, they've got this overhang on the top, and that overhang is actually at the same level as the phone. So if I get this in, it's quite a bit more cumbersome. You'll notice that on this side, the overhang is actually on top of the phone, and on this side, it's actually it's on the side of the phone. It's not actually, the lip is not actually on the phone because the phone is too thick to actually do that. So unfortunately, it isn't perfect, but it works fine. I mean, it still holds the phone in perfectly fine. You can still position it perfectly fine, and I mean, it still closes and all that stuff. Like, there's nothing actually wrong with the G4 in this device, but it could be a little bit cleaner, and it may scratch your phone if you slide it around a lot because, of course, this side is not on that foam pad; it's on the actual tab. So if you only had this phone exclusively instead of this one, you could actually just ground that tab off, and that would then it would touch the foam pad, and you wouldn't have as much of a problem. But yeah, it fits both of these phones, and I mean they're quite substantially different in size. It supposedly goes from 3.5 inches to 6 inches, and I believe that. I believe that it works fine with all sizes of phone. So, of course, the big question is, what do I think of it? And as far as the build quality goes, I'm actually quite happy with it. For what I paid, it's actually not bad. The magnetic clasps feel very good, and the fit on my face, aside from the nose being a little bit too low, is perfectly I think it's as comfortable as you're going to get with suspending a pretty decent sized phone, a couple inches from your face. So I have no complaints with the design of this other than the fact that it doesn't have a magnetic button. If it had the button, that would make this pretty much the ultimate inexpensive Google Cardboard clone type device. I'm not entirely sure what you want to call this, but yeah, that would be the only flaw that I can really see with this, is that it doesn't have that. The other thing that would be kind of nice is if they had some sort of numbered wheel for the pupil distance, because I find myself, whenever someone borrows this or whatever, they adjust the pupil distance, and then it takes me a while to find what pupil distance I'm used to. So I think I'll probably just mark the wheel so that, you know, that's where it is. But it would be nice if there was little like digits or something, so you could be like, oh, I'm like a 4, and then, you know, that would be nice to see. But I doubt that'll ever happen. But yeah, this, again, I don't understand what the point of this is, because it doesn't really do anything. I mean, if your phone doesn't fit within this window, changing this doesn't change anything. So I'm not quite sure what the point of this is, really. It just makes the image smaller, which is kind of the opposite of what you'd want. So anyway, so as for VR, as for my experience with Google Cardboard, since this is my first experience with any kind of VR really whatsoever, aside from like 3D anaglyph glasses and stuff, that's pretty much all I've had up until this point. It's actually, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not like probably Oculus Rift level, because of course you're limited to the resolution of the phone. Now, of course, this phone is 24. Oh, no, I can't actually remember. I think it's 2456 by 1080, and this is 1920 by 1080. I'll insert what the actual resolution is. The G4 has a better display, and you can notice that to some extent, but the content really matters, as the content is really the thing that determines how good it will look. I mean, if you're watching a YouTube video that's done in the 360, you only have so much frame area to go by, and it doesn't matter what the screen resolution is, you're still going to see, it's going to be still pretty blurry. But if you, on the other hand, are playing a game or something that's actually rendered on the device, then of course it'll be rendered at native resolution, assuming the textures are the right resolution, and then the phone resolution will matter. But it's blurry, but it does still work. It works fine. I've never had an issue with the compass or the gyro sensor. They all seem to track really, really well. No issues with drift or anything like that. As for field of view, it doesn't appear to change terribly much with the size of phone. Like between the two phones I have, the field of view only changes by a very small portion. So it's not like if you have a small phone, the experience is really going to suck, because that's not the case. I don't experience that whatsoever. The novelty, there is kind of a novelty factor with this. The novelty wore off after about a week. It's cool, but there's only a limited amount of content for it, and it's one of those things that when I see some cool content, I'll get this out and I'll use it. But once you go through all of the tours and the, you know, all of the like content that was designed just to sort of hype these up, once you go through all that content, there's not that much out there. Some YouTubers have proper cameras to do shoots and stuff, but other than that, there's not a terrible amount of stuff out there. But it is definitely cool. The best feature, the best thing that I've found to use with this is actually the cardboard camera. Taking 3D panoramic photographs with, you know, your actual phone is by far the best use of this that I can find. Of course, it's actually really good resolution, because of course your phone camera is actually quite high resolution. So once it gets blown up, it still works. It still looks fine. And I mean, it's 3D and it's your actual photos. So that's by far, I think, the biggest use of this is to take those photos and then view those photos. But yeah, as for online content, stuff just has to come out for this to be more useful. But anyway, yeah, I would recommend something like this. If you haven't already bought something like this and you're looking for something that's not a piece of cardboard, but also not super expensive, this is definitely something that I would recommend. It was a good purchase. I mean, it was highly rated, so I bought it and it was on sale and everything. But yeah, it's actually pretty decent. So anyway, at this point I'm just waffling. So hopefully this was informative and interesting. Thanks for watching.